Hello, thank you for joining me on my capstone project. My name is Thomas, and this is my website for my capstone project in UW Bothell's IAS program. This is my homepage where it's a just small overview of who I am, uh, how I completed my bachelor's degree at the University of Washington Bothell. I really do like video games, and I have great interest in video making. It's been a wild ride. A lot of low points, but way more high points, and I'm honored to have graduated and share my experience with you. So, let's first go through my capstone essay. This is basically just a huge summary of everything that you'll see later on, where I reflect on all of my learning goals in IAS and just my general experience with each of learning goals and my whole time here. Uh, let's first go through the portfolio essays one by one. So the first learning goal is create critical and creative thinking, where uh, the project I decided to showcase here is the video that I haven't finished yet. But from what I've created with it first, is that I really enjoyed the whole process of this project. I loved writing for the script. I love editing it, even though it's taking forever. And
Mhm.
I just love researching everything here. The video itself is basically about climate change, how it has this perception of being really stigmatizing for sending a message because climate change itself is a very serious topic, a critical topic where it affects everyone globally. Yet, a lot of the tactics used to send the message are very scientific, logical, and well, just depressing. So my topic is comedy. Sorry. Uh, my topic is comedy an effective way to addressing the issue of climate change? And where I research several aspects of this angle, where I found the University of Colorado has these two professors, uh, their Inside the Greenhouse project and Stand Up for Climate Comedy initiative, where students would get together and basically create videos and comedy skits for and about climate change. And they found that a lot of the participants, or most of them, received very positively. And then the next one, the next part of uh, the next piece of evidence I found was by Nicole Seymour, her book Bad Environmentalism, where it basically talks about how environmental as a whole is really depressing and not really receptive to most people. Uh, I think it compounds what I found before and shows how using irony and irreverence really does make much more of an impact and doesn't leave anything sacred. Because with climate change, a lot of scientists try to sugarcoat it because the whole reality of it is really depressing. And the main focus of the video is how South Park uses comedy to express their views of climate change, where at the beginning in like 2006 they were very satirical, like their standard mocking that they're known for. And then how 12 years later they addressed it in another video, sorry, in another episode called Time to Get Cereal, where it turns out their stand-in for climate change is real. And now that it's here, it's far too late to actually like stop the damages it's already caused. So I think this video in this project was like a really great exercise for critical and creative thinking. I really enjoyed the whole process, being creative, putting in my own like effort and my own creativity into this wasn't like an amazing experience. I loved the whole process. And I had to think critically because I had to research everything and try to put it all together to form my argument and also basically figure out how I was going to structure everything and present it in a way that I enjoyed. Do you have any questions about this part?
Yeah, can I ask, were there other mediums that you could have used, or were you all expected to do a video?
Yeah, of course. Actually, a great point. So there were three separate methods that we could have done for this project, but I chose a creative project like a video because I really, really wanted to end the quarter or end my journey at Bothell as a whole, creating something that I'm not used to. I
Mm.
typically used, I typically created research papers. I've written them, and I was thinking like when I was watching a video my professor was showing in class, they were talking about how climate change was such an issue that was so critical, yet no one really pays much attention to it. And
Mhm.
it got me thinking that they used a clip from The Daily Show where they talk about climate change and why no one's really paying much attention to it. And they also splice in their own comedy. I was thinking like I remember pretty much everything from that video because of the comedy involved.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking like, you know what? I really want to make a video because it like aligns with my current interests right now.
And have you made or edited videos before?
I have, yes. And I'm currently doing another one and currently doing this one, sadly. But but yeah, I have edited before and now is a good time to like, test out everything I do. It also shows how quickly I can learn the different editing techniques that I've been using in this video.
Mhm.
Not only showing like how quickly I can learn it, but how quickly I can implement it into the project itself.
Nice.
Yeah.
Um, do you feel like this type of project would have been more, uh, do you feel like this project and this style was the best way to get your message and your argument across, or do you feel like you um maybe could have maybe you would have tried something differently after you experienced all of this?
I absolutely think that the video was the best way uh to send my message. The whole idea of
Nice.
yeah, the whole idea of climate change and how comedy is a great way to communicate it is that comedy is like very it's very personal. So I think having like this voiceover kind of like style for a video is like really important to like the whole message as a whole. Because if I just did a paper about comedy, I feel like that kind of like contradicts my message as a whole in a way where like I'm just kind of saying the facts and saying, hey, this part was funny, so you should
Hmm.
feel this way. Whereas if I did it in a video, not only am I free to show what I'm doing, but I could also like kind of place in my own opinions, thoughts during the whole process, and just just show like funny parts that I've found during the whole process.
Yeah. What was the most difficult about this project? Like the most difficult part about this project?
It's definitely the editing.
Okay, yeah. That
Yeah.
takes hours.
Yeah. It was definitely the editing, mostly because right now I'm just trying to find like the footage and where to put it in over my voiceover, which I've done separately. The voiceover did not take that long at all. I think that was
Hmm.
like I think because I've been doing it, it's like it was like a slightly easier process. But yeah, this was one of my this is one of my favorite projects that is still in progress.
Yeah, you sound pretty excited about it.
I'm really excited, yeah.
That's awesome.
So the next learning goal is interdisciplinary research and inquiry, where you have to learn and conduct your research by engaging in multiple areas of knowledge. And the project I decided to showcase for this one was the Living Memory Project in my journalism and media history class. This was actually one you know of because I think you were there to see it unfold. But I decided to interview Nan Ong and on the subject of the Vietnam War and how journalism played a huge part in that time period. So what we found was that there was a lot of censorship that happened during the Vietnam War, where after the fall of the capital of South Vietnam, there was a lot of censorship in the sense that they would not report on the war afterwards. And over in America, they would do the same, where a lot of the reporting done on the Vietnam War was very like biased and inaccurate to what's going on. Basically, news stations at the time were kind of voicing their own opinions versus like uh stating like the full facts of the thing. And I really enjoyed this project too because it was really interesting engaging with Non Ong. Uh, and it was really nice just recording, learning more about his history and the Vietnam War in general. And creating I loved recording the whole thing, basically like kind of like a podcast where I would take the audio, transcribe it, and then use that as like evidence in my final paper about the whole thing. And also, another project that was for interdisciplinary research and inquiry was another interview I did with my dad, Luanong. And I asked him about his illnesses and his history with it. That's what an illness narrative is. And then after all of that, I presented it to my class in a slideshow. And this one was also great. I really liked interviewing both my dad and yours. And it was really interesting learning about the whole history of our parents. Uh, yeah, I had to research like in completely different areas. Like I had to research about like, medicine in a way, journalism, and that kind of reflects as my journey as a whole. I'm like taking everything that I've learned from every single area and combining it into like a single shared experience, a single experience that only I could really find. Uh, yeah, any questions?
Yeah, that's really nice. I think it's nice that you have a project that allowed you to connect with family and history a bit more. I thought your dad was joking when he said that you interviewed him about high blood pressure. But I did not realize that you actually did, and
I
I love it
did,
so
yeah.
much. Um, yeah, so just through this experience and talking with them and just kind of connecting with them in this way, how was that for you? I don't think this is a conversation that you normally have with, at least you don't normally have this conversation with my dad.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really interesting, like being able to like fully connect. I know that I haven't like had like a deep conversation with my uncle and not one as like serious as the one I did with my dad, but it was really a nice experience if
Hmm.
in like broad terms. I really enjoyed how like how like earnest our conversations were,
Mm.
and you know, it just it was nice getting to know them, learning what learning how they think and how they felt at the time.
Would you have asked them or have known to ask them about these topics if you didn't have to do it for your project?
For my dad, I definitely knew because
Okay.
I knew he had high blood pressure. I didn't know about the tuberculosis.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, so that was a little scary to learn.
Hmm.
But yeah, my dad actually recommended my uncle for and your dad for researching about the Vietnam War because I was originally just gonna ask him, but
Hmm.
he recommended your dad saying, you know, he knew like he knew a lot more about the Vietnam War than he did.
Yeah, it's a topic near and dear to our hearts. So
Mhm.
I'm glad that you got to talk with my dad about it because he loves talking about this stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad to.
Yeah.
So the next essay I talk about here is collaboration and shared leadership, where we take our experiences of being a leader and also sharing responsibilities between our group mates. Uh, the first project I wanted to talk about here is collaboration and shared leadership is this comedy sketch I did in my social psychology class. Uh, so basically what this project was about was we had to take one of our lessons that we learned during our time in social psychology and basically reformat it to a lecture where we can have a glass of under of basically through K-12 students and see if they can understand the topics we teach them. So my group decided to talk about the types of social influence one could experience in like a group setting. And we decided to do a comedy sketch because you know, this was my first time or this was my first quarter at Bothell. I wanted to kind of like expand my abilities and see what I could do. Unfortunately, this project kind of fell a little flat because there was a lot of technical issues and a lot of it happened to be from my end because I was I was basically cleaning everything up and that made it so that the script didn't match up with what was on the slides. So that was kind of like an outtake that we had to like recover from. My group mates all did their best job. Think I just think you know the vision was a little misguided. Uh But the biggest thing I took away from this is that it's okay to fail. I think that was like the biggest thing I took that I learned from this project, and it's still something that I try to remember every time I you know, do my best. Yeah, you know, sometimes things happen. Sometimes they're a little embarrassing, but it's okay to just step back and then learn from it and then keep moving forward. And then on the other side, near the end of my experience at UW Bothell, I was a part of this really big sustainability project where we had to do this project that revolved around basically doing something sustainable for like a period of time. A lot of people did things like take the bus more often, basically composting more, eating vegan for a week or so. I was part of this huge clothing drive group that ended up being like more than what we anticipated. Because originally we started as like two separate groups. We found out that, oh, hey, we were both interested in the same thing. And then this all eventually ended up with us collaborating with the sustainability club at UW Bothell. And I say I use this example in contrast to my first one because this was the first uh this was the first project where I felt like I really contributed as like a leader in our group. So basically in this project, we split ourselves into three groups: marketing, donations, and education. Where marketing would handle, advertising the event, making sure everything was going well. Donations would be sorting through the clothes, cleaning them, and then getting them ready to be getting ready to be distributed to everyone. And then the education group, the one I was in, was tasked with making a survey involved that involved their engagement with sustainability, what they could, and provided them like small suggestions for improving their carbon footprint and things like that. I really like this one because even though I reluctantly became the leader, I decided to step up and basically direct how the whole like survey and slideshow that we presented during the event was structured. Uh, and I also communicated with the other leaders of each section to see how our progress went. And I think I did a good job, and so did the other leaders. Uh, it was a unique experience being like a leader when I'm usually kind of someone that just kind of does what I'm supposed to in a group project. But it was a nice experience. Any questions?
Um, Not yet, but I just wanted to say that I really liked what you said earlier about your project and learning that it's okay to make mistakes and that we just try our best, but sometimes things happen. I'm sorry that you had to learn that in front of a group of people. That's
Yeah,
always awkward.
yeah,
But I appreciate that that's what you took away from it. And I guess with your leadership project with leading the education survey, or it looks like you also put slideshow.
I did. Yeah,
Um,
which I'll be showing in a second.
nice. What I guess from that experience, what skills do you feel like you further developed?
I definitely learned a lot more communication.
Mm,
Uh, it was definitely like it was definitely a better uh method. What am I trying to say?
no
Um,
good.
it was definitely something to learn. I really have trouble communicating with people, and I also have like trouble collaborating with someone because I just feel like a lot of what I could do uh is hard to like express.
Hmm.
Or basically it feels like when I do something it feels like it would be easier if I did it myself because I would know what I wanted to say versus what the group would want to say.
Hmm.
But this experience was definitely like something that helped me learn how to collaborate more because now uh everyone has like a direction to follow and everyone has like a frame of time to work with.
Hmm.
When we like when it's like delegating what one person would do and where another can like pick up and help someone else that isn't exactly uh that is like a little behind because of like personal stuff. That was like it was like a nice experience and communicating with the other group members and the other leaders to like coordinate everything was a nice experience.
It's a hard skill to hone, but very important one to have. It also
Yeah.
sounds like you learned quite a bit of patience in this experience and needing to take some time and how to articulate what you need done and uh, waiting for folks to help out.
Yeah.
Nice. I didn't realize how involved you were. This is nice to hear.
Mhm. Yeah. During this I was like considered one of the more one of the most contributed, well, sorry, I was one of the biggest contributors on the project, according to my peers, from what I gathered from my professor's comments in the grades. And that was nice to learn.
Look at you.
Thank you. Now, on to diversity and equity. This one I did a standard research paper for because I think at the time it was very appropriate for what I was doing, where this one we have to recognize the power dynamics between what's it called? Marginalized groups
Mhm.
where where in this one I decided to focus on the prison system and whether or not they should be abolished.
Mhm.
So the prison system uh, has a very notorious reputation where they treat their inmates very poorly and incarcerate African American people at a much larger rate compared to every other minority group. What I found was that like uh, a lot of a lot of ta a lot of perspectives on prison abolition is very radical and not uh, effective for our society, where uh, we do need a place to take someone out of society for acting out or things like that. But what really needs to be done is like a huge reform in order to like help build up the inmates rather than, you know, tear them down and send them back out to society where they'll definitely struggle. And this was a really big research paper. It took like six sources to find to like fully articulate the argument. And as well as that was just kind of the requirement, six sources to talk about. And yeah, any questions about this one?
I think when it comes to topics like these, a lot of folks might have preconceived notions when they come into the argument. Did you have any thoughts that changed throughout your research and through writing this paper? Things that you were like rethinking as you were writing it all?
Yeah, absolutely. I was definitely thinking that I would be on the side of for prison abolition, but seeing the arguments in place was like, this is a radical idea and it's not exactly uh, very beneficial in the long run.
Mm.
And sorry, I'm looking at the remaining time and we have like 10 minutes. Uh-oh.
All good. Are you
I'll
able to splice things together?
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just Yeah, I came in with that idea, but as I continued, I'm thinking like, yeah, this is a radical idea. I think we it definitely should be more about reformation rather than just getting rid of it entirely. Mm.
It definitely taught me to stay educated and basically research before I jump to conclusions, which is a good thing to take away as, you know, I graduate.
Yeah, and always just be careful of our sources.
Hmm. All right. And the last learning goal is writing and communication, which, like we talked about, is an invaluable skill where we need to be aware of our audience and write for them and use a range of evidence. So, but the main thing I wanted to cover in this section was the writing aspect and how my creative writing was made for an audience. So the first one I created of this was this piece called Chokehold. It was a sonnet written in necropastoral style, which meant that like the theme was like, you know, infection and kind of like anxiety written in a poem.
Mhm.
And a sonnet is like a specific form of poetry where it's like uh I think it's more stricter than what the assignment called for, but basically it was like 10 to 12 syllables and written in this specific pattern
Yep.
of rhyming style. And I really like this one because it was because at the time there was like the wildfires were just like still like lingering around where like the air quality was like completely terrible and like hazardous to people's health at the time. And I really liked this because I really enjoy writing, which is like kind of like an extent which like extends to video making like I'm doing right now.
Mhm.
And I really liked how I was like putting my creativity and my feelings on pollution at the time into this sonnet. It was also fun writing because it was just a creative endeavor and it was like a creative challenge. I liked it a lot.
Mhm.
And also it sends my message of like, this the environment is like, kind of decaying. We need to recognize the damages we're doing. And then the other artifact I have for this is called Dinner Rush. The purpose was to basically have a flash of memory for the protagonist to experience and basically do like a character study of like the characters you write within them. And this one was also just like, a part of creative writing that I enjoyed very thoroughly. It was like just basically a page where where you follow the characters and what it's about was basically the protagonist being excited for or being nervous for a dinner, but then coming to realize that uh, every like this moment is what really mattered, not the whole like presentation of it all.
It feels very meta.
Yeah. Any questions about this?
Yeah, are you you mentioned that you do writing on your own time for fun. Do you typically write poetry or do you write stories?
Yeah, I definitely write stories. Poetry what is not something I usually do anymore. I
Mhm.
tried in I tried in high school, but I kind of was like hit with reality. I was like, oh, I do not know the intricacies of this.
Mm.
But
I mean,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Yeah. Uh Dinner Rush is definitely something that I would do more on my own time, whereas like a a full fiction story
Mhm.
and I really enjoyed the process of that.
Yeah, it sounds like a really nice way to just get I mean, this sounds very crass, but just to like vomit all of your creative energy in like one go,
Yeah.
and just see how that works. Because I think sometimes when we write, we can kind of be a little too in our heads,
Hmm.
but to have like these restraints can be a really interesting way to show off what we actually can really do.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool. Next time I might ask you to show me because I would like to read it.
Yeah. So I guess just to show you quickly uh what it's all about. This is my bibliography, the part of a part that was required where it shows you basically what the thing is about in a third person sense and
Mhm.
my thoughts and as to why I included this part or why I included this artifact in each of these why I included each one of these artifacts.
Mhm.
And yeah, it basically it was interesting like just writing both in third person and in first person after that.
It's always funny when you're like using your own last name. It's like, okay.
Yeah, like I'm citing myself.
Yeah.
So when we go over to the artifacts tab, you can see like all my different artifacts here. So you can see chokehold, just a simple like 12 lines or something like that. I think yeah, 12 lines where it's
Mhm.
just a small little sonnet with I really like how this turned out. Uh I usually I didn't think I would feel this strongly about the pollution and like climate as a whole, but I guess as I went through my journey through UW Bothell, all the climate stuff just kind of spilled over.
Mm.
And yeah, and also the theme for the sonnet really kind of like pulled out a lot of the emotions here. Yeah, if you have any questions, just go ahead and ask before I move on.
I think we're good.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Okay. So, yep, this is the video project I'm still working on, so there's really nothing here yet.
Is it due when this presentation's due, or
Well, yeah. Uh, it'll be by the end of the day, which I think I have enough time to do.
okay?
Here's hoping anyway. And here is Dinner Rush, like I saying,
Hmm.
where it's like a page and a half of the story I wrote. I like this one a lot. I actually presented this in class, which was a little embarrassing, but I was proud of it, so I decided to keep sharing it.
Awesome.
Here is the group project, the first one, where basically we had this whole script set up. We gathered the props and just presented it to a theoretical group of second graders, where yeah, everyone in the group had a role, and we just pretended to host a game show. And so,
Mm.
like, as you go through the slideshows, you can see that I don't know why that's doing that, but you can see that uh, we can go through all the slides and explain at the end what each social influence aspect this covers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was comedy in the sense that the game was clearly rigged. So like, so like it would just be like a bunch of silly things the host would do to basically influence the players to get the answer wrong.
Mm.
And yeah, it was a cool experience, even if even though it was kind of embarrassing at the end.
Did you get a good grade?
Yeah, the only point that we didn't get was basically that the vision was kind of skewed because like it didn't really like it was like it needed more audience engagement and also wasn't really like tailored to second graders, but like the
Mm.
quality was fine and like it was a good concept. It's just we didn't very execute it all that well.
Mm-hmm.
And then here is the illness narrative where this is the paper I wrote for it, and here is the presentation for the illness narrative itself, where it was basically just like a little overview of everything we learned, and we cover one of the five C's, which is basically the five aspects of recovering from illness or dealing with an illness. I
Mm-hmm.
decided to choose change over time, where my dad his environment changed and basically everything around his life changed during this time.
Mm-hmm.
and then I connected it to the readings we did in class. Any questions about this one?
No, I think you talked a good bit about it earlier when you were doing your overview. So,
Yeah, yeah. And so this one is the living memory project I did with your dad.
mhm,
And I was originally going to put the audio for this interview because I thought that was cool, but also I realized probably probably don't need to do that. Like the transcript is enough, and also I don't know how comfortable. I'm sure your dad will be fine with it, but I don't want to put his voice for the public without, asking him.
sure.
Yeah, so it's like a 20 minute interview, and I picked out some quotes at the end to use in my paper. And then this is the actual
Hmm.
paper itself where I talk about censorship during the Nixon era.
Hmm.
And then over here, prisons, cruel and unusual. Just unrelated. I really like the title for this one. This was probably my favorite, like just in general.
Hmm.
So yeah, you can see I go through source one, source two, all the way to source six for this paper. It's a 10-page paper or like 8-page paper, 7-ish. It was probably one of the longer research papers I've ever done, especially talking about 6 different sources in general. And yeah, it was really interesting like researching like solitary confinement, prison abolition, and basically the incarceration system as a whole.
Hmm. Did you use 13 as a source? Have you?
Third, oh yeah, No, I did. I don't think I did.
Oh, that's a. I mean, maybe I'm biased, but I think it's an excellent documentary.
It definitely would have helped if I had known at the time, I think. And then here is the sustainability clothing drive, where this is the slideshow I presented, or sorry, we presented during the. I got a little egotistical there.
It's all good.
Yeah, so
You were there.
yeah, I was there. So yeah, basically, our group had like 11 people, and we split the group into four, four, and three, which our education group was three, and we
Mhm.
all contributed to the slideshow where it would post a lot of the facts here, and then at the end we would show like uh all the statistics, which is like depressing, like I said before in the the climate change video I was gonna make, that a lot of the information around environmentalism is like pretty depressing.
Mhm.
But at the end we talk about man, there's a lot. We talk about uh some good things that have been happening around sustainability, like this organization called Planet Aid that are like trying to recycle clothes from landfills. And then like Cedia, which is like a technology company that's trying to also further this field. And then how you're helping and how like participants are helping, and more ways they can help. We basically provide them like small suggestions that may be like small in the long run, but like it's really about, spreading the message before it spreading the message for the people so that, the uh the benefits could influence other people.
Mhm.
And then here is the questionnaire for the drive. It's for some reason it won't let me display like the results purely without like doing something else. So I'm just gonna show it here
Mhm.
where does it not? Okay, well, it would let you show the results. I think yeah, let
You might
me
need. to
Yeah,
be logged in?
let me find it real quick actually. Here we go. So the responses here were like uh all the uh all the ways people learned about the event, how important it is to people. The unfortunate thing about this statistic is that this is definitely people that attended the sustainability like club like in general.
Mm.
So it might be a little skewed, but you know, it's important to learn about what people it's important to learn even if the results are a little skewed.
And were folks all around the same age range, or did you also have folks who are slightly older, slightly younger? Did you ask?
Uh yeah, I think from what people have told me for most of the responses they were mostly around the same age.
Mm.
And here like shopping habits and then like which method would you want to contribute to, with. So yeah, it was a really nice way to gauge sustainability at that point.
Hmm.
And yeah, and after that, my professional documents where it's like my resume and sample cover letter.
Fun.
Yes. So any questions about anything
I mean, this is a random question, but for your essays, what kind of citation style do they ask you to use?
for the portfolio essays or the artifacts?
I guess, I mean, in your artifacts, you gave the actual copy of your resume, or sorry,
Yeah.
of your essays.
Yeah.
What, uh, like, I don't see any parenthetical citations, so I'm like, what do they make you use?
Yeah, for these basically I had to use my own like stuff here actually.
Mm, okay.
So talking about it for here and then sorry, I'm trying to understand the question.
That's all good. This is just a nerdy question. You don't gotta worry about it. Um, so this is your entire journey through the 4 years. What do you feel like was your favorite moment, either
uh
in school or with friends or whatever?
oh for friends it's definitely it was definitely doing the intramural volleyball with them.
Hmm.
So basically this like tournament at UW campus where a lot of people get together and play volleyball. This was me and a bunch of other friends they came up to me and said, "Do you want to play volleyball?" I was like, "Absolutely." Uh even though we weren't very good, it was just an amazing time to just be with my just to be with my friends laughing and you know just playing with them.
Yeah. Is
And
that
then
something new for
yes.
you? Like, have you done volleyball before?
Yeah. What actually happened like the year before I was signing up as an individual, so I got put onto a random team, and unfortunately that team was already like kind of fully realized. So there was
Mm,
no like so like they didn't switch me in because you know they were trying to like keep the momentum going.
hmm.
And so sadly I just kind of sat in the sidelines the whole time. So but like this year I finally got to play with my friends and they were and it was a great time even if well no I can't even say that. We won a game. It was fun.
Oh, nice.
And then I would say my favorite moment from my yeah from my journey in UW Bothell, I would say it would be a tie between the video I'm currently working on right now and also it would be a tie between the video, the sustainability project, and probably the first group project titled Who Asked for social psychology.
Hmm.
I think they all like showed different aspects of what it means to really like to really branch out.
Mm.
Like for example, the social sorry. The social psychology group project showed me like, you can experiment, and even if it doesn't work out, you can still be proud of what you do and just learn from it.
Mm.
For the sustainability project, it was definitely for seeing everything come together like in a great way. And then for the video I'm doing, that one absolutely is probably like the one is most relevant to me. Because like I really like recently found that I enjoy the process of making a video.
Mhm.
And it really just combines everything I learned from Bothell, from research to creative and critical thinking to just being creative in general.
Mm. I mean, I'm glad that you've had all of these projects that were really impactful for you. And I appreciate that you asked me to be one of your audience members to share your story. This is really nice.
Of course. Thank you so much for joining. All right. Thank you.